do have a few fun facts for each speaker. So our first speaker of the night is Jane. And Jane is an honorary colonel in the Canadian Armed Forces, which is an appointment by the Minister of National Defense. Very, very impressive. She has a severe fear of missing out, a lot of FOMO. I don't know if folks can relate. If she had to sing, dance, or cook for a living, she would die, in her own words. And she's married to the world's most patient man. Jane, come on up here and share your fuck up.
Thank you, Marcia. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm just going to start this with, I think I probably have fucked up the most. This is my second time getting to present at Fuck Up, so you know it was a real fuck up. There we go. So, being an entrepreneur is sexy, right? Everybody wants that gig. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, have that amazing exit, get the helicopter, get the yacht. That's what it's all about. Well, that's what I thought it was all about. And, you know, like Marcia said, I have this serious case of FOMO. And so I drank the entrepreneurial Kool-Aid in 2012 and got on my way and decided that I had a friend who had an idea, and I thought it was a good idea. And I had some spare time and some spare money. When does that ever happen? And I thought, let's go do this. Let's live the experience. And I also have an MBA, so I know everything, right? Everybody does who has an MBA. Anyhow, went and did it. And I'll premise this talk with the fact that I'm doing okay. I definitely don't have the yacht and the helicopter yet, but I'm working on it. So here's my story. And I also have notes. I'm very old school, and they're very, very large printing on it because I'm also very old and blind. So I don't know if that's a fuck up as well, but it's a reality for sure. So my friend Nicole, who's in the far, your left side of the screen, that is my business partner, my former business partner. She had an idea, and I thought it was a great idea. She created this contraption that protected her newborn baby from the sun. What could possibly be wrong with that, right? Babies have sensitive skin. They need protection from the sun. I did my due diligence. You know, the mummy baby market is a $7 billion market around the world. There's 4.5 million babies born in North America every single year. Even if we had a fraction of that market, it would be a good business, just a fraction of that market. And you know, I'd also been to enough baby showers in my time that I saw the crap, the shit that other parents bought other parents. And I was like, I can get this. People will buy this for baby showers. Anyhow, I guess it was the wrong due diligence to do because they did not buy it. So I said, let's go do this. We created the two products. One is the Shaidee sun cover, and the other one is the Shaidee bug. So the Shaidee sun cover wraps around the back, and it's worn when you've got your baby in a carrier or a sling, for those of you that know what that is. The Shaidee bug is enhanced sun protection, but it's also insect protection. Great idea, right? So that's what everyone said. Oh my God, that's a great idea. Oh my God, where were you when I had my kids? That's awesome. So we designed and we designed and we designed. We had about 400 different prototypes and about 200 trips to manufacturers and suppliers throughout North America. We designed this whole thing. We manufactured it. We had thousands of them, a lot of them. We incorporated in September 2012, so this isn't a new story, this is an old story. And we got started right away. So between incorporation in September 2012, we did the business plan, we got money from bankers. Oh, by the way, I'm really good at writing business plans. We got a lot of money from bankers, which we had to pay back eventually. But we incorporated, we designed and manufactured. We designed packaging in 3 different languages, English, French, and Spanish, because we figured we were going to be selling into California and Texas, a lot of the sunny states. And then we launched in May. So just a few months later, truly a few months later, we ran really hard and we got to launch. And we launched at, there's a baby show that happens in Toronto. It was a big deal. We got lots of media. It was a lot of fun. But we had designed all the products, and I'll just tell you a little bit about this. This is a lightweight, machine washable fabric. It weighs less than your smartphone. It came in its own carrying case. You know, the pitch comes back to me very easily. It is like, it scares me a little when it comes back that easy. And then it cost us about $14 to manufacture these. And when we were going to retailers like to double what they pay for it. So we were actually charging retailers close to $20 per Shaidee because we had to include in all of our various costs. So, you know, we had the production costs, and we weren't paying ourselves anything at this point, which I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs understand. You get in the business and you are going to take out of the profits, not out of what the bank has given you. But we also had insurance. We had all kinds of different things. So we were charging retailers $20. They wanted to make at least 100% markup, so they were selling it for $39.99. So when we sold online, we sold for $39.99. Margins are good at that. They aren't so good when we're selling to retailers. But we knew if we got the volume, it would be okay. And we were doing social media, but it was 2012. It wasn't the same as it is now, and the algorithms weren't there like they are now. I can come up with a gazillion excuses, but that's what it is. Anyhow, we also learned that this was not another baby blanket. This was not another rattle. We actually had to educate the market on what this was. So in order to do that, we discovered that we had to get in front of media. So every day I would sit at my computer and I would make sales calls all day long to mom and pop baby stores across North America. And then at night I would go on my computer, and as you know, there's talk shows that happen every single day. Talk shows all need content. They need it every single day of every week. So there's great opportunity. Here's a learning lesson. There's great opportunity to get into media. And we got into everything. And you know, this is just a sample of what we got into. But we still, the Shaidees were still not flying off the shelf. So we decided that we should get on Dragon's Den. So Dragon's Den came to oh, by the way, I'm from Waterloo. And Dragon's Den came to Waterloo for auditions, and I thought, this is it. This is gonna be our big break. We're gonna get on it. Now, just a sidebar. As I said, we launched in May. In June of that year, I met with Arlene Dickinson and her entire team. And when I went in to meet with her, I was looking for $500,000. And so I got in front of Arlene and her team, and I said, you know, I went through my pitch deck, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, to the point where she really liked the product. She actually bought 2. And then she said, you know what, Jane, I love it, but in order for me to make this work, I'm going to give you $0, and I'm going to take it on with my team, and I will pay you royalties. And I was like, oh, well, that kind of sounds good, but it kind of sounds bad. And then I started thinking, we're 1 month past launch. If Arlene Dickinson likes it, this could be a big thing. Then I started thinking, if she takes it and she shelves it, then I get nothing, and I've got a huge investment into this, and I'm only 1 month in, so I would regret that forever. So I turned her offer down. Not sure if it was the right thing or the wrong thing, but I turned her offer down, and away we went. So back to Dragon's Den we go, and we auditioned, and we made it to the Den, and we got a deal with Michael Weckerly. How many people have heard of Michael Weckerly? Couple? Yeah, he's been in the papers lately. And after much due diligence on his team's part, they decided not to do the deal. We got the deal, and they decided not to do the deal. But anyhow, the day that his team told me that they weren't doing the deal with me, I was in Waterloo, and I was at a small tech company patio party, and I walked out onto the patio, and Michael Weckerly was there. And there was a bit of a crowd around him, and he stood up, and he looked at me, and he said, oh my God, everyone, that's Jane, and I'm investing in her company. I was like, oh, well, you're not actually, but I'm not telling you that. So the next day, we went and we had lunch, and sure enough, he invested in my company. And I have to say, I have many, many stories. He was an interesting investor, but he was always very good to us, and he gave us, he's a smart man, he gave us a lot of really good ideas. Anyhow, that was my Dragon's Den story. I'm way behind on my notes. So then after that investment, I knew that I had to have boots on the ground, and I really had to get going. And I went to the 2 destinations that I thought would sell Shaidee's, and that would be California and Florida. So this is where the crazy comes in. So the crazy is a little bit about, it's crazy and creepy all at the same time. I did every trade show I could do. I did outdoor markets, events, sidewalk sales. I was everywhere all the time in front of every mummy that I could possibly find, every mummy group, wherever they were, I was there. And I spent hours walking the beaches in California and Florida with a Shaidee and a fake baby on my, people, they would come up to me and they'd be like, oh, that's so creepy. They like back away really fast. I'd be like, oh my God, what am I doing? And then in the winter of 2015, I was a finalist for the Mumpreneur of the Year Awards. Now, the funny thing about this is I'm not a mum, but so they let me in. Anyhow, it was just bizarre. But it's the things that you do when you own your own company and you're running around trying to get things done. So I was literally running on empty at this point. The bank account was draining. I was getting desperate. We needed to sell a lot of Shaidee's fast. So I went back to that list that I had developed and I kept calling. And you know, the goal every day was to sell a dozen Shaidee's into every company that I called. That doesn't sound very hard, does it? But it was very hard. It was very difficult. And then we had a breakthrough. And I had buyers from both Walmart and Target that called me back and were interested in Shaidee. And I was so excited. I thought, this is it. This is really it. This is going to make Shaidee go. And then I read the fine print on the contracts from Walmart and Target. And if anybody's ever dealt with either of them, it was almost impossible. If we would have gone through with it, the risk was so large, the costs that are associated with it, stacking the shelves, unstacking the shelves if you don't sell a certain amount, the advertising, the extra costs that went into it. So the risk of getting into a Walmart wasn't an opportunity for us at that point. So we just said no, we couldn't do it. So we're still running out of money, so it was time to ramp it up. So I took one more last run at the trade shows, and I ended up at a show that we had done before in Vegas, and it's the All Babies and Children's Show, and it's one of the biggest in the world, and everybody goes to it. So away I went, I had a booth, I'm at the show. People are coming up, they're telling me how awesome the product is, still telling me we won the product of the year. Wonderful. Still no one's buying the fucking thing. So anyhow, I ended up talking to a guy who's actually from Toronto in Vegas. And he's like, well, that's kind of a cool idea. So this guy, what he does is he sells Canadian-made goods, baby goods, in Asia at a premium price. I'm like, well, that's super. But he's on a plane like 350 days out of the year, which I had no desire to do. So by the end of the show, we had talked enough, and I broached the subject of him acquiring the Shaidee products. And he was like, well, let me think about it. Anyhow, it turns out we came back. He's from Toronto. I'm from Waterloo. He moves to Stratford, which, if any of you know, that's just down the road from Waterloo. So we continued our discussions. He ended up buying the product. So I had a great exit strategy. And you know, after 4 years of running this company, I finally made the decision to exit it. And it was a great decision. What was that one slide? Did you ever stay in a relationship too long? I stayed in this one way too long, but I learned a lot. So just want to go through some of the lessons I learned. It's check your opportunities that you've got with real advisors, not with the average Joe that tells you it's a wonderful thing. Choose your business partners carefully. I didn't go into it, but my business partner didn't show up very much, and she hated making sales calls. That was all our business needed was sales, 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 and it was hard for one person to do it. So friends and family don't always make great business partners. Spend the time and money on a good shareholder agreement. I know you hear that all the time. Do it. Expect to work very, very, very hard. I don't think I've ever worked as hard as what I worked for Shaidee. Have someone in your corner. My husband, as I said, he's the most patient man around, but he was also my sounding board and my rock through all of this. He always had this saying, he's like, Jane, don't worry. Nobody's gonna die through this. Don't worry, you're gonna be okay. I'm like, yeah. And just remember, you can be stronger, smarter, and better the next time around. So You can also have a whole lot more stories. I have a ton. So thank you everyone for listening.
That was such a great story, and I love that lesson. That's a really good way to contextualize our fuck ups, right? Like if it's not killing anyone, if no one died, hopefully you're okay, and you can continue and learn from it, and hopefully do better in something else.